Pastor Errol Williams here at another Monday night Bible studies. I'm so excited that I have the opportunity to share with you the living Word of God. In around 3 minutes' time, we will get started on a subject that is very, very close to my heart, the 10 indisputable laws of goal setting. Well, that's my thoughts for this month, February, as we start the new year 2018, and I'd like to share with you the 10 indisputable laws to goal setting, that if you follow these laws, it's technically impossible for you to go wrong. If you follow these laws and you follow them to the letter, you will indeed achieve great results. So I want to say welcome to you and to your family. You may want to take a moment in the next 2 or 3 minutes just to get yourself ready. If you want to invite any of your friends or family, just send them the link and get them to join us right here at cogop.com. You can watch this on my Facebook profile page, or you can watch this at YouTube, or you can watch it at the regional website, which is cogop.com. And I'm so excited that you're able to join me tonight as we look at this beautiful subject. And I'd love to share with you these thoughts, which I have gathered, if you like, over the last 35 years or so. So in 2 minutes' time, we will get started on this subject. Now, you can ask me any question you want tonight in the chat room, or you can text me, or you can indeed call me on the number running at the bottom of the screen, 0203-289-4567. I'm looking forward to hearing from you if at all possible. Well, as I said, we get started in the next 60 seconds. Just want to make sure that everything is okay as we are streaming both Facebook and also YouTube at the same time. So just want to make sure that everything is working okay. Just want to make sure that we are live, and certainly we are live on the website there. And if you're on the website at cogop.com, underneath it says click here to join the chat room at YouTube. So you can actually join the chat room at YouTube if you click that button. So I'm going to go ahead and click that button so that I can see if you're there with me, and we can go from there. So just click on that button, and that will take you to the chat room facilities right there in YouTube, and the picture looks good. Everything seems to be working okay from my end. All right, I hope you've had a fantastic day. It really has been an amazing day for me. Met with a few friends that I haven't seen for a very long time today. I had a great chat as we met to discuss and to reflect on the past and look at the future and how things are progressing. All right, we get started in 60 seconds time. Again, I want to say welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I am excited to have the opportunity to share this subject with you tonight. I'm just checking my Facebook Live page just to make sure everything is okay, and it seems to be running perfectly well over there as well. So wherever you're joining me, welcome, and thank you for being with me tonight. From time to time, I will be looking in the chat room, which is just here, and I want to say to Tim, good evening to you, sir, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. All the best to you and your wonderful family. Thank you so much for joining me in the chat room, and I'm excited about tonight's subject, and it's going to be a great time tonight. So we get started in 30 seconds. Thank you so much for joining me. My subject tonight is the 10 indisputable laws of goal setting, and it's a subject that everyone ought to know about, find out about, and indeed take very, very, very seriously indeed. So I will be right back in just a few moments, in a few months' time. Well, welcome to our Monday Night Bible Studies with Pastor Errol Williams. The theme of our Monday Night Studies is to study to show ourselves approved unto God, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So, again, I want to say welcome to each and every one of you, and thank you so much for joining me tonight. My subject is the 10 indisputable laws of goal setting. Now, if you want to get involved tonight, you can indeed contact me. Let me just bring up my screen here so you can see right at the bottom there, running on your screen, the ways in which you can contact me tonight. You can do so via text, and just turn my phone on just to make sure that I don't miss any one whatsoever. So you can text me, and I'll be able to respond to you from the text system that I have here. So let me just set that up right here so I don't miss any calls at all. So I look forward to receiving any calls from you on 0203-289-4567. You can call me in the studios and I'll be able to hear you, and everyone on the screen in the studio, in the show, will be able to hear you also. Or you can actually go to the chat room, and the chat room facilities are there at YouTube, and you can also talk to me as well. Actually, if you're at Facebook, so I will be watching the screen to see who is communicating with me. Either way, I can pick up those messages. So I want to again say thank you very much. Go ahead and just communicate with me, whichever way you choose to do so. So again, I want to say thanks to my good friend, Jesus Timotheo. Thank you very much. Great to have you online tonight. All right. As I said before, my subject is the 10 indisputable laws of goal setting. My name is Pastor Errol Williams. And just for those of you who don't know me, I thought today I would just introduce myself to you. Again, my name is Errol Williams. These are the ways in which you can contact me. And you may want to make a note of that website as well. That's my personal website, twfi.org. twfi.org. It stands for the Williams Family International. So you can go there and you can see how you can actually connect with me. You can purchase my books online through PDFs and things like that. And I'll probably talk a bit more about that towards the end of the show. I was born in 1959, lived in the UK. That's where I was born. Went to Jamaica to live for around 10 years. Came back to the UK. I'm very happily married, 6 children and 6 grandchildren. Can you believe that? My commitment to the community has been really amazing over the last 40 years or so. I spent 37 years in leadership experiences, 25 years counseling, running courses for UK prisoners, 15 years as senior pastor and regional overseer, 10 years teaching systematic theology. And I also sit in the national trustee for the Church of God of Prophecy UK Trust. I was involved in a community project. In fact, we were talking about meeting with the guys today as we met up today. And I was co-founder and executive chairman for one of Europe's largest multi-million-pound community complexes, which was launched by His Royal Highness, Prince of Wales, in 1988. And to the right, you will see a picture of me with His Majesty, the Atumfu Nana Ozitutu II, the king of the Ashanti tribe in Ghana. Can you believe he used to work for us as our personal manager? He used to report to me, in fact. Can you believe that? And now he's the king of the Ashanti tribe in Ghana. I've had 34 years management training experiences. I've trained out thousands of managers, leaders, supervisors, and unemployed people in the UK and abroad. I'm also a motivational speaker. Here are some of the clients that I've had the opportunity of, sharing my knowledge with. And some of those companies were freelance companies. So there are many other companies that I've done work for that are not there. Companies like IKEA and others that are not on the list. But these are some of the people I've had the opportunity of working with, training their staff and employees and so on. And I must say it has been a most phenomenal experience and journey one which I cherish a lot. You know, it was really, really, really amazing. I'm the author of these 4 books, Pursuing Excellence, Tips for Dealing with Difficult Conversations, Sowing for Blessing, The Temptation Trap. And you can download those books. If you go to the website I mentioned before, here is twfi.org, and there's a shop there. You can download those tonight if you want, for a little cost. You know, I think some of them are on $2.99, $4.99 or so. But those are great, great books. And if you want to access them, as I say, go to twfi.org. All right. All right. Now, these are my interests, and you can see them here. I'm a qualified bricklayer. Can you believe that? Qualified bricklayer. I was a parliamentary candidate in the 2010 general election. I'm a photographer, web designer, and internet expert. I used to play cricket. I don't play as much as I used to. Love the game. Backgammon, domino, and chess. I'm really good at chess. Can you believe that? I'm a software trainer, but my passion really, if you like, there it is. My passion is to help people improve their lives. That's my passion. But tonight we're looking at the 10 indisputable laws of goal setting. And my first question is, why set goals? Why set goals? Now, I've listed 9 points there for you. And the first reason is because 25% of people who set New Year's resolution, they abandon them within the first week. Within the first week, 25% abandon it. Only 3% of people in the population throughout the world set goals. Okay, only 3%. Because most people aim at nothing and they hit nothing with amazing accuracy. And so it's very, very important, therefore, to set goals. And by setting goals, you will control your life. You will focus on the important things in life. You will be self-confident and enthusiastic. Really is that's the one I love the best, where you're just really so confident and so enthusiastic throughout every day of your life. You make good decisions. You finish your tasks efficiently, and you'll also make progress and become successful. And so these are the reasons why I believe it's important to set goals. There are other reasons, obviously, but these are the ones that I've identified as to why we should set goals. Another really fundamental reason, and I don't really want to go to the Bible for this, and I'm going to go over to, let's go to Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18, and you can see it here. Why set goals? And here it says, where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. So the reason why we should set goals is because if we don't, we will perish. That's what the scripture says. If we don't set goals or vision, whether those are given to us by God or not, if we don't have them, the scripture says the people perish. They throw off restraint. They're no longer focused, as I mentioned in that particular slide before. And I just want to go back to that slide, and you can see is that when you don't set goals, you're not in control of your life, okay? You're not focusing on important things. You're not confident and enthusiastic. You don't make good decisions. You don't finish your task efficiently. You don't make progress and become successful. So the reason why you set goals is so that you don't perish, so you don't lose out on those things that really do belong to you. So it's very, very important, therefore, that you set goals. I just want to check the chat room and just want to say welcome to Pat and Lucas. Good evening to you guys, and I love you guys lots. And I think Tim, Jesus, Timotheo beat you guys to it. You guys are always here first, but Tim beat you to it this week. And June, welcome, my good friend and sister and daughter. And welcome to you, and thank you for joining us also. Now, we talked about why set goals. Now, it's important to recognize that goals fall within 3 zones, if you like. There are those who are in their comfort zone. they're operating within a limited space, in a box, if you like. It's their comfort zone. Then you have what we call the discomfort zone, where you're stretched outside of that box, if you like. You're going outside of that box. And then the third zone is what we call the delusional zone, where people are confused. They just really don't know what they're doing. They're just really disillusioned about things. The zone that I want you in is not the comfort zone or the delusional zone, but we want you in your comfort zone. We want to stretch you outside. If you feel, as I go through this tonight, feel uncomfortable, then you're in the right zone. You're in the discomfort zone. And that's really where you want to be as I go through this presentation tonight. So my first indisputable laws of goal setting, is you've got to own the goal. You've got to own it. You've got to own it. It's got to be your goal. Now, goals come from three directions. God could give you a goal, okay, or a dream or a vision. It's the same thing. God could give you a goal, a dream, as we saw in the case of Joseph. The Bible says in Genesis 37 that Joseph dreamed a dream. Let's go over there and have a look. Genesis 37, and I think it's verse 5. Verse 5. And Joseph, here it is. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he dreamt. He had more dreams further down. But the point here is this: that he dreamt the dream. He didn't make up the dream himself. He dreamt it. And in this case, God gave him that dream. We saw also with Moses, when God called Moses and told him to lead the children of Israel out of Egypt to take them to the promised land. That was God giving Moses a dream. We saw with Jesus Christ, who came to earth to die on a cross to save sinners from their sins. God gave him the dream. And we saw how that they received a dream from God and began to fulfill the dream that God had given them. So dreams can come from God, or a goal can come from God, as I said, with regards to Joseph, with regards to Moses, and with regard to Jesus Christ. Dreams can also, or goals can also come from others. Maybe your employer, maybe the church you go to, maybe the community project that you're involved in. So that those goals, or that goal, is set by somebody else. So for example, I work in a church. I'm a pastor of a church, but I have a superior over me. My boss is Bishop Ted Roy Powell. And he sets goals as to what he wants to see fulfilled in the nation. And so I have to submit to those goals. Those goals were set by somebody else. Okay? As I said, if you go to a company and you're working for a company, they are paying you to help them to achieve their goal. So those goals were set by somebody else. I also want to talk about the fact that God also allows us to set our own goals. Not necessarily goals he gives us, but our own goals. Goals of how many houses we want to purchase, or what car we want to drive, or what food we'll be eating, and so on. You know, your own goals. God allows you to have your own goals. Now, right now, as I sit here, I have goals that are given to me, I believe, by God. I have goals that I am working towards that were set by others. And I have my own goals for my family, for my health, for my career, for my finances, and so on and so forth. So it's important to recognize that goals come from three different directions. Whichever direction it comes from, you must have one. That's how important it is, because if you don't set goals, you will perish, as I said before. Now, whether the goals come from God, or whether the goals come from others, or whether the goals come from yourself, you must take them personal. They must become your own goals. So I like what Jesus said. He said, the zeal of my Father's house has eaten me up. When Joseph received the dream, his whole life was preoccupied with that. So was Moses. He spent his entire life consumed by that goal. Now, in 1981, I joined a community group called the HPCC, Halls and People's Community Council. And when I joined that team, they had the goals already set up. And all I had to do was to take those goals and make them my own goals. I took them personally. And I lived my entire life for the next 15 years or so, working night and day on those goals, from around 1981 to around 1996, there or thereabout. And just wanted to I just got a text here. Just wanted to respond to that. I'd like to respond to the messages as soon as they come. So let me just take that. Good evening, Pastor Errol. Tonight, Bible says just what I needed. Would it be possible for me to call you when you are free, please? There's a lot happening at work, which is ending. Okay. Of course you can. You got my number. You just use it. That's why it's there. You call me whenever you like, and we will go from there. It's perfectly okay. Yeah, you can call me. All right. Now, let me say again, the first indisputable laws of goal setting is that you must own the goal. You must have one. Whether it comes from God, whether it's come from others, or whether it comes from you. And you must take it personally. You must own it. It must become yours. You cannot get away from that. Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no vision, the people what? They perish. That was the first indisputable laws of goal setting. It cannot be disputed. That's just the way it is. It stands forever for all generations. Second indisputable laws of goal setting is you need to write the goal. Now you might say to me, well, I don't need to. Well, you don't have to. But I want to take you to a scripture in a moment that says you should. It is stated actually through research that you are 42% more likely to achieve your goals if you write them down. I want to show you something. I met with my daughters on Sunday and I wrote down, I gave them some goals for the year that, you know, we as a family could work on. So come the 31st of December, when we look back, we can say, well, what did we set out to do? And have we achieved it? So today, while I was driving my car, I was trying to remember what those goals were that I shared with them. And I couldn't remember them. And that's what tends to happen with many of us. We know what we want to achieve, but because we didn't write it down, we can't remember. And when we forget, and then you might find a piece of paper 6 months later, say, oh, that's what I was supposed to have done. I strongly recommend that you just follow the law. Write it down. Every organization obey this universal law. Now, I have never been to a large organization, or small for that matter, that did not write down what it was that they were in business to do. Companies have what we call a memorandum and article of association, or they have a constitution, or they have their trust documents. But they have some form of documents that written inside of them is the purpose for which they exist in that particular time. Now, let's share a scripture with you. Let me just check the chat room. All right, nothing going on there. Now, let me just share a scripture with you here that I think you'll find really rather interesting. And it's Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2 and 3. Now, I want you to notice here what it says. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision, write the goal, write it. And then he says, make it plain upon tables. You see that? make it plain upon tables. I want to underline that. That he may run that readeth it. See, when you read your goal, maybe 2 or 3 months from now, you'll be amazed of how it really does trigger off in you what you ought to be doing. He says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. I want you to notice that. There is a specific time for the vision. But at the end it shall speak. It's an absolute certainty. And speak and not lie. I want to underline that. Though it tarry, wait for it. You're going to have to wait. Be patient. And then he said, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Now, why is God telling the prophet to write the vision? Well, he said it. Make it plain, he says. Make it specific and direct. Make it very plain. That he who readeth it may run with it. Who's going to run with your vision when you read it? You are. It's very important you write it down. The vision has an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it. Wait, be patient for it. Because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So the point here that I want to make to you in the second indisputable laws of goal setting, God told the prophet to write the vision. You're 42% more likely to achieve your goal if you write them down. Now, listen to this carefully. You have a 42% head start when you write it down. Now, if I was given just 5% head start, I'd take it. But to be given 42% head start, that's a no-brainer for me. So I strongly recommend, no matter what it is that you try to achieve this year, 3, 4, 5, or 6 things, write them down. At least write them down so you don't forget. Remember again, every organization that I've ever been in my 35 years of training and development, they have their goals written down. They know exactly what it is that they're trying to achieve. I strongly recommend that you obey this particular indisputable law. Now, when you write your goals would normally fall within 8 category areas. Here they are listed. Your health. What's your goal for your health for 2018? What's the ideal weight you'd like to be? Do you have any health challenges that you'd like to overcome? Write it down. Whatever those situations are, whatever it is you want for your health for 2018, write it down. Put it on a piece of paper. Now I'm going to recommend when you put it on the paper, put it in a position in your house or in your car where you look at it every day to remind you so you can run with it. That he may run that readeth it. Who's going to read it? You. What's your goal for your personal development? How much more knowledge would you like to obtain through 2018? How many books will you read? How many videos will you watch? How many training courses will you attend? What's your goal for your personal development? For developing your ASK, your attitude, your skills, and your knowledge. What's your goal for that? Community involvement is like a church. Are you involved in a church or in a community group of some sort? Do you have a goal? If you're the leader within a department in your church, what's your goal? Write it down. Write it down. What's your career? What are you good at? Maybe you're not in the career right now that you really want to be in, that you deserve to be in. The career that you love so much. What's your goal for 2018 for your career? Do you need to get a degree, a master's? What? Write it down. What's your goal for your family? I told you on Sunday, I sat down with my girls and listed the goals for 2018. I strongly recommend that you do that in your family. Your family is a business. Did you know that? TWFI.org that I mentioned before, TWFI.org, It's my girl. It's my family business. Yes, it's our family business, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that later. What's your goal for your finance? How much money would you like to make in 2018? Would you like to make an extra £100? Well, write it down. What about your social life? You're a social person, going to the theater and going on holidays and so on and so forth. What's your goal for that? And certainly, what is your goal for your spiritual life? God has called you. Maybe you're a Christian and you want to achieve certain things. What's your goal for your spiritual life? So I strongly recommend it. Now you can see over there on the right, I call it the wheel of life. You can see that over there on the right. And what I've done there, basically, I created that, and you know, you can actually, the idea of that basically is to put from 0 to 10 on the scale for each area, and then try to match them coming round to see whether you got a balance in all those 8 areas of your life. Because really and truly, you want to make sure you have a balance. It's pointless you having, you know, you're working on your health so much, but your family is destroyed. Are you with me? So you want to make sure you get a balance in all those 8 areas as far as possible. But the point here is write down your goal. Now, imagine you have a goal for each of those. Let's say you had two targets you want to meet for each of those, 2 goals for each of those. That's going to be 16, right? Well, how are you going to remember all 16 if you don't write them down? Unless you got a super, super, super duper memory. So I strongly recommend you should have at least 1 goal for each of these areas throughout 2018. You should have at least 1. So I strongly recommend that you obey this second indisputable laws of goal setting. Right, let me move on to law number 3. Law number 3 is to be patient and wait for it. That's what he says in the book of Habakkuk. He said, wait for it. Though it tarry, wait for it. You see, every dream has an appointed time. It might be in a week or a month or even a decade. You're going to have to wait for it. Now, Joseph received a dream when he was 17. That dream took 13 years to be accomplished. He had to wait for it. He got the dream when he was 17. It was fulfilled when he was 30 years of age. Amazing, isn't it? It may take days or weeks or months or even years for your dream to come. But you're going to have to wait patiently for that to be fulfilled. And I want you to be aware of the major 3 enemies of goal setting. One of them is people. Second one is money. And the third one is time. People, money, time. Sometimes we quit because of other people, because they don't say the right things. And that's a major, major enemy of goal setting, is other people. The things they say. Or people say they're going to do something, but they don't do it, and so on and so forth. What I'm going to say to you, don't allow people, don't allow money, and don't allow time to stop you from achieving your greatness, especially people. Imagine you say to your friend, I'm thinking of writing a book, you know, and your friend says, you can't do that. You're not qualified. And straight away, what happens? We throw in the towel, right? And says, well, maybe she's right. But what about if she had said, you know, that's a great idea. I think I'd like to help you. I think you should start yesterday. You know, someone come to me and they say they want to write a book. I said, when have you started? Why haven't you started? Come on, let's get it going. I want a copy of this book. So what I'm saying here is that When you set goals, whether it comes from God or it comes from other people or you've got to wait. I want to tell you this. When I was at this organization called Bridge Park, we were building this building. Man, I was frustrated day after day. You know, when is the building going to start and when is it going to finish? And I came in every day and saw it until one day Prince Charles came and launched a project. But it was frustrating at one stage. But I'm saying to you, don't become frustrated. The vision, the goal is for an appointed time. And though it tarry, wait for it. Let's go back to the scripture again that we were looking at earlier. It says here in verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. You see that? But at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it. That's the point I'm making. Though it tarry, wait for it. All right? Though it tarry, wait for it. Wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So it's very important, therefore, that we come to the place that when we have goals, we are patient. It may take you days, it may take you weeks, it may take you months, and it may take you years, but whichever way it goes, be patient and be aware of the enemy that comes in your way to stop you. All right? All right. Law number 4. Law number 4 is estimated time scale. You must have time scale. Going back to that scripture where it says, for the vision is for an appointed time. If God gives you a vision, even though he may not tell you when, God knows when. Those people that you're working for, who are working on their goals, they know exactly by when they wish to accomplish that, even if you don't know. And if you set yourself personal goals, I strongly recommend that you put time and date to it. Why? Because time scale is a system. It saves yourself stress, time, energy, and money. Don't you ever forget that. By setting a time scale, you're saving yourself stress, time, energy, and money. A goal without a time and a date is a wish list. That's all it is. It's just a wish list. All right? Set time and date to every goals that you list. So if you list a goal, for example, in any of these 8 areas, make sure you put a time as to when you want it accomplished by. Because if you don't, it's just a wish list. One of the first things we do when planning a marriage, a holiday, or a baby dedication, or any other event, one of the first things we do is we set the time and the date. Why? Because when you set the time on the date, it focuses everybody in on what's going on to that date or time that is approaching. I'll give you an example. Let's say you're getting married. So you and your spouse set no time or date for the marriage. You tell everyone that you're going to get married and you send out invitations, inviting them to come along to your marriage. But you haven't set any time or any date to it. But you've sent out the invitation. You've ordered the cake. You've ordered the DJ. You've ordered the church, but no time and date. Let me ask you a question. What's the chances of everybody getting together at the same time for this wedding? Absolutely no chance. Not a chance in hell of everybody zooming in, because the time and the date causes everybody to focus in on what's going on. Isn't it amazing that when a person sets a time and date for their marriage, how everybody turn up for that. People are rushing. Oh, I'm late, I might be late. Oh, I'm on time. And they're rushing. Why? Because the wedding is on the 7th of September at 2 p.m. 2018, whatever. Everybody knows. So let me say this to you again. By setting a time and date, you will save yourself stress. You will save yourself time. You will save yourself energy. And you will save yourself a lot of money. So make sure whenever you set goals in whatever aspect or whatever area, make sure you put the time and date on it. Because if you don't, it's just a wish list. Setting the time and the date, you must do it for every goal you set. It is extremely important. And you know that, and I'm sure you agree, this is an indispensable law. It's not even worth arguing against it. Because it stands true for all culture, all generation of all times. If you don't put a date and a time on it, it's impossible for everybody to gather on the same day at the same time to have that event. It's not possible. So when you set goals for your health, what's the time and what's the date? Now, if you came to me and you says, well, I'm organizing a wedding, first question I'm going to ask you is when? And what time? So it's very important that you obey this. I think I've made a point on this one. I hope I have, because lots of people have goals, but it's just a wish list because they have no time to it. And if you come to me and says, well, I have a goal that to do X, Y, and Z, I'm going to ask you by when. And I'm also going to ask you the time. Law number 5. We're halfway through the laws. Is that your goals must be realistic and achievable. In other words, can I achieve this in the time scale that I've set? And do I have the ability to achieve this? If you fail to be realistic and achievable, it would only lead to frustration and resignation. You must be real. You must be realistic. Can I achieve this goal in that time? It's like last year I only made £20,000 in my business. And this year I set a goal to raise £1 million. Now, is that realistic? Can I really achieve that in the time scale? And do I have the ability to achieve that? I mean, I only made 20,000 last year, but I plan to make $1 million this year. As a matter of fact, no, let me up it a bit. I intend to make 100 million this year. What's my chances? Well, that doesn't seem realistic to me. Maybe a good target of raising 20,000 last year is to say, well, I'd like to make 10% on top of that. I'd make it another £2,000 or so. That might be a realistic target that one could aim after. But you say I'm going for 100 million. Ooh, that doesn't make much sense unless you really have some plans that could make that happen. So you must make sure that the goals that you set for your life is realistic and achievable. You want to lose 2 stone and you say, well, I want to do it all by tomorrow. Well, I just want to exaggerate that. That's not possible. Well, unless you cut 2 of your legs off, maybe, and maybe if depends on how much the leg weighs, but that's not going to happen. All right. So, as I say again, make absolutely certain that your goals are realistic and achievable. Because if you don't set realistic and achievable goals, it will lead to frustration and it will also lead to resignation. That's why people get frustrated and they resign and they quit and they give up, because the goals are not realistic. Now, anyone got any questions for me? Then if you do, please put them in the chat room. Let me just check the chat room here. Let's make sure that nothing is going on. And I don't think there's no text for me here. Just make sure the phone is on. All right. Excellent. I know that there's quite a few people at YouTube. Thank you guys so much for dropping by. I really do appreciate that very much. Love you guys lots and wish you all the best. Right. Let's move on then from law number 5 to law number 6. You can't dispute these. They're indisputable. All right. Now, we move away from goals that are realistic. Now, you can achieve it in the time scale, and you do have the ability to do so. So law number 6 is that they need to be specific and direct. Don't beat around the bush. You need to get straight to the point with your goal. I want to buy a house is not specific. Or I want to lose weight is certainly not specific either. Let me give you a specific one. It says, I will buy a house by Wednesday, the 1st of January, 2020 at 3 p.m. You see that? Now we have a time and a date, even down to the very second, as to when this goal should take place. This is what we call being specific and being direct. We're not beating around the bush. Now let me say this, okay? Isn't it amazing, okay? Someone is going on holiday, right? They set the date, they set the time. My gosh, they're 2 hours early down at the airport and so on and so forth. Because that was specific and direct. We're going on flight Virgin at such and such a day and such a time at such and such a what do you call it, airport at such and such a what do you call it now, where they take off, whatever it's called, I'm not sure. But everything is specific. There's no beating around the bush. So when you get to the airport, you know exactly which counter to go to. You know exactly once you get to the counter, they sent you to the boarding and all of that stuff. Everything is just specific and direct. Specific and direct. It's just as clear cut as day. So you must treat all your goals in the same way. Remember, you're 42% more likely if you write it down. Put this thing on paper, write it down. You know, I will do this by such and such a day and such and such a time. I will lose 1 stone by Wednesday, the 1st of January, 2020 at 2 p.m. That is what we call specific and direct. There is no wondering about, you know, the specification of it. There is no wandering. There is no misunderstanding. It is clear and direct what it is that we want to achieve and by when and what time. That is specific and that's direct. And the more specific you make it, the better it is for you. If you want to add more specifics, and let's say you want to buy a house and you talk about how many bedrooms, you talk about the garage, you talk about the size of the garden, and so on and so forth, then you're becoming more specific. Isn't it amazing that when a master builder is building a house, before they build a house, guess what they do? They get the architectural drawing. What do you think the architectural drawing is? The architectural drawing is the specific and direct outcome that is being looked for. Now, I used to be involved in HBCC, and we were building a project called Bridge Park. It was a £5 million project that we were building, and before we started that project, we had a model as to exactly how every room was going to look, how many number. We knew down to the very amount of nails that was needed to be purchased, the amount of cement, the amount of bricks. We knew exactly how many bricks. The architect told us because he works it all out. How do we know he worked it out? That's the only way we would we knew how much it was going to cost to build it, because everything was worked out as to exactly what was needed. The amount of cement, the amount of bricks, the amount of nails, the amount of chimneys, the amount of this, that, and the other. And then they could cost it to say, you're going to need X. And when we finalized, we needed £5 million to build that joker, that project. You need an architectural drawing, if you like, for your goal. Let me show you something then. You don't believe me, let me show you. Hey, Owen, is that Pepsi? Welcome, Pepsi, my beautiful daughter. She used to be my favorite daughter, and she's not my favorite anymore. I don't have favorite anymore. I do actually have favorite. Actually, her son is my favorite. I always tell them the youngest one is a favorite. That's my way of keeping unity in my house. So her son, what's your son's name again? I forgot, you know. Actually, I forgot. Remy, that's right. All right. Welcome, welcome, Owen. Good to have you, sir. Great to have you. Great to have you. Now, let me just say how specific and direct, and this is what I was going to share before I realized Pepsi and Owen was here. Those of you who have got married before, didn't you sat down and did your architectural drawing, if you like? You knew exactly on paper the date and the time. I have never met a person, by the way, who organized their wedding and didn't write it down. Now, if you were married and you organize your wedding and you tell me that you or a friend of yours didn't write it down, please type in this and let me know. I'd love to meet a person who organized their wedding and didn't write it down. I'd love to meet that person. I want to know how they did it. Now, I'm talking about a wedding that was like a year away, or I'm not talking about where you decided to get married and you just flew on a plane to somewhere, you and the other person. And then I'm talking about where, you know, there was a few weeks. Normally what happened is this, and I use everybody. You decide with your partner you're going to get married. So you say, right, we're going to get married in 12 months' time. So you set the date, you set the time, you write it down, right? Then you write down everything that you need to do, everything that needs to happen. And then you said so-and-so is going to do that. And you begin to assign people to do that and that. Isn't that what you do? What were you doing? You were making the blueprint of your marriage. You were doing your architectural drawing, if you like. You were making the thing specific and direct. Treat every one of your goals in the same way that you treat your marriage that you organize if you were married. Treat everything the same way. Thank you, Pepsi, for telling me, Remy. Oh God, I don't know how I could forget that. Anyway, I hope Remy is watching me, Pepsi. I hope he's watching me. Make sure he's watching, please. So, and Deshay as well, if she's there, and Dequan. Now, the point here is this, is that you need to make your goal specific and direct. Don't beat around the bush. Okay? Don't just say, I want to make money, or I want to, you know, do this. You want to make it specific. I will this, and I will. And I want you to notice, you know, you shouldn't be saying I want to. You should be saying more or less, I will. So law number 6 is to make it specific and direct. Map out your blueprint, if you like, just like people do who are getting married. Or if, for example, you're organizing a party, all right? Maybe the party is a few weeks away, or even a funeral. Many of us have organized funerals. And what do? Don't we sit down and write down the thing? What were we doing? We were making it specific and direct. We were making sure that everything was listed that needed to be done. It's amazing. Think about it. I organized my mother's funeral with my sister, and that's exactly what we did. When I watch other people who are organizing funerals, that's exactly what they did. As I mentioned about funeral, people who are organizing birthday parties, because there are so much things that need to happen that it's very important that they make it specific. You make it specific and direct. That's law number 6. All right. Let me move on to law number 7. There are only 10. 7 indisputable laws of goal setting. Now, your goals and your values should be in harmony. Now, what are values? Your values represent who you are. What are the most important things to you in life? I like what one person says. It says, if you have not found a cause in life worth dying for, then you're not fit to live. Well, some people may not agree with that statement, but the point of it is saying this, is that the thing that you would die for, everybody, I believe, would die for something. Maybe there is a cause you would die for. Maybe you would die for your child, or you would die for your family. So your family becomes the most important to you. Let me go back to a slide here for a moment. If you look, for example, at these 8 areas that I mentioned earlier that you ought to set your goals in, you may want to ask yourself, out of this list of here, what are your priorities? Which one of these things on this list would you die for? Would you die for your health, with your personal knowledge, your community, your career? You might say no, but would you die for your family? You say, well, yes, I'd die for my family. I'd die for my son and my daughter. So that becomes one of the most important things to your life. You can see now that that becomes one of the most important things to you in life, and so on. Some people would die for what they believe, their spiritual life. They would die for that. All right. So it's important, therefore, for you to recognize that every one of us have values. Your values might be this way, might be this way. Our values might be different. But whatever your values are, they must be in agreement with your goals. Okay. The things that are important to you must be in agreement with what it is that you're trying to achieve. For example, one of my values in life is a value of being honest and being fair and so forth. So I wouldn't go into a goal of something that would cause me to lie or to cheat. Yeah, you follow me? So the value represents who you really are. Okay. What is the most important thing to your life? Never do anything that violates your values. If your values are never to lie, never to cheat, never to do all these things, that you don't want to violate those. You don't want to go after goals, if you like, that are going to violate your values. Okay, your goals must be in line with your values. Remember again what I said, your values are those things that represent you. Let me put it another way. I want you to use a tree, for example. You know what a tree is, right? All right, let me go and find a tree then, see if you could see what I mean. All right, where are we now? Let me go and find a tree. Let me say large tree. All right, large tree. Let's go over here. All right, let's use this one here. I think that I can view. Yeah, let's use this one. All right, let's use that one. Right, now, here you have a tree, right? The root down the bottom represents your values. The root is your values. The root, in other words, the most important part of the tree is the root. The more important part of you is your values. Now, out of your values come your vision, the branches, the fruits on the tree, and so on. Those are the visions, the branches branching off. Those are the visions. So what I'm saying here is your vision and your values ought to be in line with each other. Just like the root of this tree and the branches, they don't oppose each other. They're in line with each other. So whatever values you have, you must make sure that the visions that you have are in line with those values. So if you're going to be an honest person, and so forth, or you're going to have values, let's say you don't rob people, then you don't have visions that rob people and cheat people and such the like. I hope that makes sense to you. So it's important, therefore, that you have values and you make sure that you have visions and that they work together. Let me say it again. Your values are the root of the tree, and the vision or your goals are the branches or the fruit that come off that tree. So what I'm saying is, just like a root and the branches link together, so much your values and your vision linked together. What are your values? What are the things that's most important to you in life? What are those things that you would die for, etc.? What are they? Now, let me give you my top three, all right? The top three things I would die for, all right? And they're in the order of priority. Number one is my spiritual life. In other words, my God. Now, and as I've always said to my family and to my children, that God is the most important person to me in life, not the church. The church comes into number three in community involvement. That's where the church is. But the most important thing to me in life is my spiritual values with God. Without him, I wouldn't have a family. Without him, I wouldn't live. Without him, I wouldn't exist. Without him, I can't breathe. If God could remove me, he could do all those things. Without God, I wouldn't exist. If there was no God, I wouldn't exist. I wouldn't breathe. I wouldn't even have a wife or children to even love. So my number one most important things to me in life is my God. The second thing is my family. All right? The second thing is my family. My family is the most important thing to me after God. My wife comes first, and then my children, and then their children. That's the order that I operate by. I love my wife more than I love my children, and I love my children more than I love my grandchildren, as much as I love my grandchildren. That's just the way I operate. Now, other people operate differently. My wife once told me she loves her children more than she loves me. That's fine. That's her values. That's how she does it. Well, I've always said to her, I will never be able to love my children more than I love her, because they came from our love together, and so on and so forth. That's just the way I operate. Now, I want you to notice church is not in that. If something happened in church and something happened in my family, then my family comes first. Church is way down the list. God first, family next, and then the rest after that. That's just the way I do it. Now, you may do your thing a little way different. That's entirely up to you. But all I'm saying here is, and I want to use a tree again, is that the tree root and the branches, they work together. Does that make sense? So your values and your visions must work together. You mustn't violate your values. You mustn't go against your values. You mustn't compromise your values. Don't compromise your values, because your values are the real you. The real you. All right, let me move on then. Law number 8. The 8th indispensable law of goal setting is that it must be measurable. In other words, when you set goals, they must be measurable. It's very important, therefore, that we look at it from 3 levels. What I call short-term goals, medium-term goals, and long-term goals. You got that? Short-term, medium-term, long-term. Your short-term goals could be a few days. It could be just what you decide to do today for within the next hour or so. That could be between days and weeks. A medium-term goal can be between weeks and months. You can say, well, right, a month away or so. Or long-term goals could be 12 months, or it could be 3, 4, 5 years, or for the rest of your life. All right? It's entirely up to you how you decide to do that. So let me give you an example of this. Let's say we're only looking at 2018. All right? So you set some long-term goals. In other words, the goals that you want to achieve for 2018 in terms of these areas. Remember I said that before. What are your goals within these 8 areas? For your health, for your personal development, developing your attitude, skills, and knowledge, as an example, for your community involvement. That's where church comes in, or any involvement that you have in the community. For your career, whatever your career is, what is your goal for that? What's your goal for your family? For your finance, your social life, or your spiritual life? What are your goals? So you might say, well, right, I'm going to set goals in all these areas in the long term for up until December the 31st. So you write them down. And then you say to yourself, all right, in line with that goal for December, where should I reach by the end of March? We're now in February. So you're still working on that long term. Let's say, for example, you're wanting to lose a stone by you want to lose 12 pounds or 14 pounds a stone by December, how much should you lose within the next month by the end of March? Okay? And then you say, right, what am I going to do on a daily basis to make sure I meet the target for the end of March, to make sure I meet the target for the end of December? You see the point? Now that's measurable, because we can now measure where you are within that particular goal. So I'll meet up with you today and I say, right, I know what you're trying to achieve by December. I know where you want to be by the end of March. But are you doing what you say you were going to do today to make it happen? Does that make sense? You know, if you have a ruler, if you take the ruler, for example, and stretch it from now to the end of December, and on it you say, well, this is where I should be at every stage of the way, then that's measurable. It's hard to manage what you can't measure. Let me say it again. It's very difficult to measure, to manage what you can't measure. You can't measure it, so how can you manage it? So I strongly recommend that you set the long-term goals, then you decide what you're going to do within the next month, and then you decide what are you going to do today. So everything that I did today, listen to this carefully, everything that I'm doing today is in line with where I'm going by the end of December. And I know what I want to achieve by the end of March. It's like I had a meeting yesterday with my girls and loved them so much. And what happened basically is that we decided what we're going to do by the end of December. And then I said, this is what we need to do by the end of March, or by the next time we meet. And so I know exactly what I have to do today. And guess what? I've already met my targets for today. I'm going to do some more work when I finish this presentation. As a matter of fact, this presentation is part and parcel of where I'm going for the March and for December. I strongly recommend that you make sure you set your goals, short-term, long-term, medium. Just take one of them and just say, well, right, where should I be in December? Where should I be at the end of March with it? And now, what should I do today? What should I do tomorrow? Okay, it's very, very important, and that you work your plan, and you plan your work, and then you work your plan. Very, very important that you do so. I hope that makes sense. And let me just make sure there's anyone in the chat room. And perfect. All right, excellent. Hi, June. Great to see you again. You said A1. Is it wrong to set goals from Gucci? What's a Gucci bags implant? I'm not sure what that is, Pepsi. Help me with that. Gucci bags implants. Not sure what you mean by that. Is it wrong to set goals for material thing? I think Gucci bags implants. I'm not sure what. Help me again by letting me know what you mean by implant. You're telling me that Remy asked that. Hi Remy, how you doing? Pepsi, if you've got your what do you call it now? If you've got your webcam, I'll be able to bring Remy into this. Is it? I'm not sure. Ask him what's the Gucci bags implants. I'm not sure what that is. But whatever goal you're going after, there's nothing wrong to set goals for whatever it is you want to achieve. You know, there's nothing wrong. Whatever you want, if you know. But I wanted to understand that question, so I'm just going to wait and see. Hi Remy, that's for you. All right, until I get some more clarification, let me move on. I just have a few more slides to share with you. Number 9, indisputable laws of goal setting. You must state your goals positively. Do not say, I would like to, or I want to achieve this. Instead say, I will achieve this by date and time. Notice, I would like to is not positive enough. or I want to. No, say, I will achieve this by this date. I will. Now, somebody might say, aren't you being presumptuous? Well, fair enough, I am being presumptuous, but Remy, Dad, Byron. Okay, Byron. Oh, Byron is there. Okay. I still want to understand what you mean by bags implants. But anyways, it's nothing wrong with going after whatever goal you want. So when you set a goal, you want to state it positively in terms of how you speak and how you think. Very important that you set the goal positively in terms of what you say and what you think. Because I want you to notice this. Positive attitudes leads to positive actions, and negative attitude leads to negative action. So it's very important what you say. Now, let me show you a verse of scripture that really helps on this point. And let me go over to, I think it's Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 21. Yes, there it is. It says, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Oh, wow. That is really a phenomenal point. Death and life are in your tongue. Isn't it amazing how we can destroy each other's lives with what we say? Think about that. Just by what we say. Isn't it amazing how we can uplift people's lives by what we say? You know, like, I love you, you're wonderful, you're great, you're magnificent. Had it not been for you, I wouldn't have reached where I am today in life. I just want you to know you're the best thing since sliced bread and so on. Or on the other hand, we are cursing the person and all kind of stuff. And we destroy people's lives, or we build people's lives with our tongue. So the wisest man, Solomon, makes this statement when he says, death and life is in my tongue. So I can build you up, or I can drag you down based upon what I say. Well, what I'm saying here is that you must state your goal positively, because you could destroy yourself by how you state the goal, by saying things like, I'm not sure, I'd like to, but I don't think I'll be, sure. I'm going to try and see if I could do it. Now that's negative. A negative attitude will lead to negative outcomes. So it's important that you start and state it positively by saying, I will achieve this. Not I want to, or I would like to, or I hope to. No. That's negative. And those are different types of attitudes, right? So if you state those negatively, from a negative attitude standpoint, you're going to get negative outcome, negative result. So why not state it positively by saying, I will achieve this by the 7th of September, 2018, whatever. Are you with me? Because when you do that, you're actually setting yourself up. So remember again, as I said, death and life is in your tongue. Now, the only difference between thoughts and words is sound. The only difference between thoughts and words are sound. So if you speak it out or you think it, it's still the same. I like what somebody said once. Thoughts are seeds. So when you think or when you speak, you're speaking or thinking seeds. You're planting seeds. And the seed you sow, you will reap. So if you state your goals negatively, you're going to reap negative results. When you say, I would like to, that's vague. It's not specific and direct enough. It's not stated positively. I will. And it doesn't matter what your friends think or what members of your family thinks. Okay. Oh, I see, Pepsi. Now I understand. Body implants. So you're asking, is it wrong to set goals for things like body implants, breast? Now, I suppose I will answer that in two ways. Number one, you might be asking the question, is it right from a, let's say, God point of view? Is it right from a God point of view, let me answer from that point of view first. Breast implants or bum implants. I have no biblical verses right now to suggest that it is correct or it isn't correct. I don't have any. So wherever the Bible is silent, I'm silent. Now, there may be medical reasons why people may want to do that or may need to do that, or people just doing it because they want to improve their appearance and so on and so forth. I'm not going to say anything for it or against it because I can't find anything in the Bible that would suggest you can or you cannot. So I just leave it to what people want. Now, there may well be some other pastor or some other Christian who might have some views on it, and I'd love to hear what they have to say, but I don't want to hear their opinion. I want the scriptures on it. So, I'm not going to speak in it. On the other hand, if you're talking about, let's assume that it's right, well, there's nothing wrong with setting goals for that. There's nothing wrong at all with saying, I'm going to set some goals because I want to have some breast implants or some whatever, and so on. Now, and a third thing that's come to my mind, if someone came to me and says, well, I'd like to have breast implants or bum implants, I'm not going to try and stop them, or neither am I going to try and get them to do it, but I will try to understand why they're doing it. If they're doing it for medical reasons, I don't know what kind of medical reasons would warrant that, but there may be, and they can show that, then that's fine. If they want to do it because they're lacking in self-confidence or they want to look better and so on, I might say, why would you need to do that? That's just my opinion, that is. Why would you want to do that to improve yourself? Don't you think God wanted you the way you are? You with me? Because sometimes people do these things because of pressure, because of the fact that other people are doing it, or because, that's the way, it is at the moment. If you do that, you get this, or you'll be more favored and so on. So I want to sit with the person to find out why you're doing this, and do you really need to do that, and so on. There are a lot of people who have, they might want to make this bigger, that smaller, and so on. And there has been lots of complications, I understand, from people who have gone ahead and have done not just breast and bum implants, but other kind of implants, and it's not worked out well for them, and so on. So there are certain dangers that have taken place, and so on and so forth. But I think that's the best I can do in answering that. And I'm sure if there's somebody else here who has some other views, then please share that, and love to hear from you. I hope that answered your question, Pepsi or Byron. I was trying to figure out, did Remy really ask that question? But it wasn't Remy, I don't think. Okay. Anyway. All right. Now, remember I said, I want to labor this point a little bit more, because this is very, very crucial. The way you state your goals, the way you talk about your goals, is important, because you're going to talk about your goals to your friends. You're going to talk about your goals, to other people. You're going to think about your goals, as you work in it. And so it's very, very important how you communicate to yourself and to other people, and for example, I have a goal, and my goal is to be a pastor in Wembley Stadium with 200,000 members, having 2 services on a Sunday, 100,000 members per service. Now, I don't say I would like to. I said I'm going to. The congregation that I'm leading at the moment is only around 300 people. Maybe we get 150 on a Sunday. That's a far number away from 200,000. I totally agree with that. But that's my goal, right? And I'm stating it positively. And I've been stating it positively for the last 30 years or so. And if I live another 30 years and it hasn't been fulfilled, I'm still going to say what I say, because I'm stating it positively. I believe it, and so on. Now, one of the most powerful gifts that God has given to you is the gift of imagination or visualization. And you have the opportunity to visualize or to imagine your goal. I gave this example in church yesterday, and I want to give it to you again today. Well, when we were building Bridge Park, we didn't have the money. Okay? We needed $5 million to build Bridge Park. So we employed someone to build a model for us of how the thing was going to look. And we went around the whole country with it, telling people, that's going to be here, that's going to be there. I wish we had the model today. I wish, man, I think that would, I would auction that, and I would buy that for a lot of money if I could find where it is. I think we must have destroyed it when we built the building. And what I'm saying is that helped us to imagine and to visualize it. I want you to imagine and visualize your goal for 2018. Pick one of them. Lie down on the bed, sit in the chair, and visualize the outcome of that. See in your mind's eyes and come back to the present day and work towards it, and don't let go of that vision. Don't let go of that imagination. Think of it. I oftentimes walk through my head, Wembley Stadium, and walk through my head where I'm going. If I'm going somewhere to give a presentation or speech or whatever, I walk through my head with it. I find out the venue, and I just walk through it, that place in my head, see my self on the stage. What am I doing? I'm using the power of imagination and visualization to state that goal positively. You can create your own goal. You can create it in your own mind. You see, you can either create it negatively or positively. The choice is yours. Right. Finally, we come to the final slide. I think it's not the final slide, but two more slides to give you. You must have a strategy. A goal without a strategy. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Therefore, plan your work and work your plan. Here is the greatest plan in tool I have ever discovered. Someone shared it with me 30 years ago in a meeting, and ever since then I've been using it. I have used it with amazing outcome. So the first thing you want to do, you want to start with your why. Why must it be done? That could be like your goal, your vision. Let me use let's say we're going to have your daughter's 21st birthday party. You want to start off with, well, why should we have it? Why must we do it? Well, we want to celebrate her birthday. We want to celebrate God. We want to thank God for this, and so on and so forth. So you list all the goals that you want to have. What needs to be done? Well, we need to get the cake. We need to get the hall. We need to get the DJ and all of that. So you list all what needs to be done. Then you decide who is going to do what, where, and by when. Always make sure you give a date to the things that people need to do and by when. How are they going to do it? What resources do they need? Also, that includes the cost. What are the risks that are associated if things could go wrong? When are you going to review it? You should review before, during, and after. Always reviewing, and make sure you reward everybody. Thank everybody. Reward everybody that was involved in your project. Remember this, and I put that statement at the very bottom. You do not have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Thank you very much, Zig Ziglar. That was my good friend Zig Ziglar. Never met him. He's never met me, but I've met him on tapes and video. You can go and type into YouTube Zig Ziglar, one of the most powerful motivational speakers the world has ever produced. Okay, Zig Ziglar. Wow, wonderful guy. Wonderful guy. You want to go and check him out. Zig Ziglar. Z-I-G-Z-I-G-L-A-R. So, this is my 10th indisputable laws of goal setting. Now, I for example, know that in Proverbs 6 and verse 6, it says this. It says, go to the ants. Let me show you so you don't think I'm lying. Let me just go up here and show it to you. Proverbs chapter 6. I always use Proverbs, you know, it's my favorite book. Proverbs 6 verse 6. It says here, go to the ant. You see that? Go to the ant, you sluggard, and consider their ways and be wise, which have no ruler, no guide, or no overseer, providing her meat in the summer and gathering her food in the harvest. And then he says, how long will you sleep, and so on and so forth. The point here is, even the very ants are planning. They have no leader. They don't have no guide or ruler or overseer. But yet they're strategizing. Yet they're planning for the summer, for the harvest, for the winter, and all of that stuff. And what I'm saying is this, is that you need to take every goal and you need to put a plan to it. Why must I do it? What's the purpose of it? What's the outcome that I want? What needs to be done? List everything that needs to be done. Then list who is going to help do what by when. Where will it need to be done by, and so on, and how. What resources are needed, including the cost. You've got to count the cost. What are the risks? Okay, look at the risks. If it was done, what are the risks? If it's not done, what are the risks? Make sure you're reviewing your plan all the way throughout, before, during, and even after. And make sure you reward everybody that's involved. This plan, my friend, if I was given the country, or should I put it this way, when they give me England to run and to manage, all I would do is use this plan. That's all I ever do, is use this plan. If I'm going to set up a business, this is what I use. If I'm going to do anything on the planet in terms of planning, this is it. I strongly recommend that you look at it. It's called the 5WH 4Rs. You see that? 5 W's, 1 H, 4 R's. Very easy to remember. I'm the one that devised this, if you like, in its totality like this. 5 W's, 1 H, 4 R's. Okay? Strategy. Now, you might have noticed that the strategy is in S and each word was in S. So let me just give it to you right here. This is what I've been working by. I've made up this memory aid to talk about the 10 indisputable laws of goal setting. Ownership. Write it down. Be patient. Put a time scale to it. Make sure it's realistic and achievable. Make sure it's specific and direct. Make sure your goals are in harmony with your values. Make sure it's measurable, positively stated, and make sure you have a strategy. Now, I strongly recommend that you use my RAT system from what I have presented tonight, is that you review it for 21 days, twice a week, twice a month, twice a year. Review what I have said if you have made notes, that is. If not, you can go and watch the recording after this. The recording will be at YouTube, and it will also be at cogop.com on the website if you want to go and watch it. Always remember to action what you have learned. Action it immediately. If you found something from what I said tonight, put it into practice. Teach it to others. Teach it to your child, your children. I taught most of what I have taught to my children. Can you believe that? I met with them for 18 years and taught them every morning. All right. If you don't use the RAT system, if you don't review it, action it, and teach it, you will lose what you have gained in 24 hours. 25% in 24 hours, 50% in 48 hours. You will even lose 98% in 2 weeks. And there will come a time when you won't even remember anything. It will become like a total waste of your time. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat room. Pastor, is the 4 R's same as SWOT analysis? No. The 4 R's are not. SWOT stands for strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So SWOT stands for strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. And that's something else in terms of how you'd analyze something. So it's not the same. No. Thanks for the question. So it's very important that you bear that in mind. Well, I'm coming to the close and just wanted to do some advertising. Well, I'd love for you guys to go to this website. I'm putting on a retreat. In June. And you can go to this website, make a note of it, academy.twfi.org/retreats. I'm going to take you over there in a moment. Let me just go over there right now and see if I can show you that. There we are. So this is the website right now, and it's going to be more information here. And how you can design your life, live your life, and master your life. That's what the weekend is going to entail. It's called Pursuing Excellence Weekend with Errol Williams. 3 life-changing days not to be missed. And it's going to be around £549. You can just click this button and you can register. It's 108 days to go. Wow, I'm looking forward to that. And it's going to be from the 1st to the 3rd of June 2018. The theme is Pursuing Excellence. There's 108 days, 19 hours, 30 minutes, and 31 seconds. And you can find out more, and lots more information is going to be put here. By next week, I should have a lot more. So you will leave this weekend supercharged to accomplish all your dreams in the short, medium, and long term. All right, you can see that here. Failing to plan is planning to fail. Winners never quit. Quitters never win. Learn the simple steps that champions use daily. I will share that with you. Take charge of your thoughts, words, and actions with power and total confidence. So come by here and have a look. As I said, There's a lot more. And then you can also join our team of things that we're doing here, and join our membership site that we have, and so on. A host of things that's going on. But I just wanted to just share that with you. And again, as I said, go to this website, academy.twfi.org and /retreats. Look around, and if you want to register, you can go ahead and register, because I'm really only looking for around 20 people. If you like, it's around £549 for the whole weekend. Everything all inclusive in that weekend. Everything, your boarding, your training materials, you name it. Unlimited tea and coffee, wireless connectivity, free swimming pool, jacuzzi, and the works. And you got Errol Williams. Can you believe that? For a whole weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's going to be intensive. You won't even have time to go to the swimming pool, as a matter of fact. And even Friday and Saturday night session could end up finishing like 12 o'clock midnight, because we're going to make sure you get your money's worth. So if you want to be involved in that, head on over to the website and get information. Email me if you want to know more information, and so on and so forth. It's going to be fantastic. I only run these weekends once a year. I've been doing that many years before, and I decided that we're going to go back into doing some more. So thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. It's now 9:30. If you have a question for me, please put it in the chat room. If not, then I will say goodbye to you at this juncture. If you want to go back over this, it's going to be at cogop.com, where you came on. It will be there for a few days. And then it's going to be also on this website here at twfi.org. It will be there somewhere on the webinars. So if you go to the website again, you should be there now. Let me go back there. It's going to be under this link here called webinars. Let me just click on that. So right here, our next webinar, we have another major webinar on the 22nd of February. You want to put that in your diary. It's a Thursday. From 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's a 1-hour presentation. I'm looking to have a lot of people on that. So that webinar is going to be put right at the bottom here. So you want to come back here in an hour, it'll be there, but you can watch it again. So I want to say thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate you guys. But my superstar for tonight must be Remy. And I want to say, love you, Remy. I hope you can hear me. But anyway, shouldn't Remy be in bed? Thank you also, Sister Pat. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for dropping by tonight. Really do appreciate you guys coming. And I will be back here next week, Monday. And yeah, I will send out the emails to what's going on. But thank you so much for tuning in, and appreciate you guys lots. And have yourself a fantastic evening. Until we meet next time. And I love this statement. I would love to finish off on. And I think this statement is a magnificent statement. It's a statement that is really worth, finishing off this session on. The new life you want is going to cost you the current life you have. You're going to have to trade this life in for the new one you want. The interesting thing about dreams, and I close on this, is that my dream to get to Wembley Stadium started many years ago, around 30 years ago. And I want to say in 30 years, I have become a new person in that 30 years in terms of attitude, skills, and knowledge. Those are the 3 areas you want to work on in your life: your attitude, your skills, and your knowledge. And on this weekend, we're going to look at that in the 1st to the 3rd of June. You want to work on your attitude, your skills, and your knowledge. You want to improve yourself. And over the last 30 years, I've just been working on me, working on developing my attitude, my skills, and my knowledge. And I wouldn't say I've arrived as yet, but I'm on a journey to get there. So I strongly recommend that you focus on developing your ASK, attitude, skills, and knowledge. Develop your children in the same way. Attitude. Attitude is so important. I'd rather work with people who had a good attitude. They don't have to have the knowledge and the skill, just the willingness to learn. I can work with those people. But I don't like to work with people who have bad attitude. But yes, they got the skills and the knowledge all right, but their attitude stinks. Nobody wants to be around those type of people. But isn't it amazing, the people with great attitude, those are the people that we want to be around. So we need to work on ourselves constantly through books we read, tapes we listen to, training courses we go. And so if you're looking for this new life, you're going to have to trade in the old one. Well, this is Errol Williams. I want to say thank you again for tuning in to tonight's webinar. Wish you guys all the best. Take care of your family and yourself. Until next time. Bye for now.